Hello Wolfpack, welcome back to another video. I'm going to be giving you an update on the shorter term price action on Bitcoin because I know a lot of people are kind of expecting big drops, and obviously we're not necessarily seeing, I mean we have seen that, but we're not necessarily seeing it actively, right? We're seeing actually a pump back up at this point. I'm going to be explaining why that's happening and what's going to lead after that. Now, the reason we're seeing a pump back up like right now, well, it's pretty, standard price action. I mean, I can't say I know why we found support exactly at this 18,700 region. That's a bit of a mystery to me. But what I can say is that this pump is nothing that is invalidating anything on the bearish side yet. If we look into the shorter time frame, we can see it is a very, very beautiful. I mean, there's no way around it. That's a beautiful cup formation, and we're seeing as well a nice little ascending triangle consolidation pattern that it would possibly break to the upside. And if it does, that's going to be leading to, it's more likely to break to the upside, I should say. If it does, that's going to be leading to a push up within that triangle again that we broke to the downside, that bearish pennant. Now, look, this is the thing with Bitcoin that I want to be really clear about. The shorter term right now isn't entirely relevant, and I think if you're looking at the shorter term too much, you're gonna miss the longer term picture. The longer term picture is pretty clear. Okay, I don't need to show you that chart. May as well. I'll show you the chart. We've just broken this macro line, this line that's actually stemming from 2011 to the downside. And if that's not enough evidence for you, we can even go to the shorter term. We can go back to the daily and see we broke the bear flag to the downside, broke the bearish pennant formation to the downside. We're breaking a lot of things to the downside, but it's not all bearish. And this is something I covered yesterday. I think if I had to guess, right, and I've been saying Q4 bottom on Bitcoin for almost 10 months, but if I had to guess exactly where the bottom would be, I would say it's any time between now and late October, and I would say it's most likely going to be a double bottom at 17.5k. Now, I have acknowledged that there are definitely scenarios in which we go down to as low as 11.5k, right? That's the lowest worst case scenario in my opinion, but I would say it's actually very likely we bottom out at 17.5k. That's where I think the bottom is going to be if I had to guess. Right now we bounced off of what, 18.5k, 18.6k. We're very close to where the bottom is going to be. It makes sense we're getting some buying in this region, or what I think, is likely for the bottom to be. And it makes sense that we're bouncing as well. And one of the reasons it makes sense that we're bouncing, well, not only did we see a sharp drop just then, and not only are we heading into a region in which we're seeing intense buying pressure, because of course we've got things like, not only the macro low there, but also the 300-week SMA heading towards that. Another reason is the fact that the S&P 500 has actually started to pump a little bit as well, right? What we've seen in the S&P 500 is we've seen this kind of diagonal supporting line, this dotted line here, which is acting as support. It was tested here in June 2022, tested here in July 2022. It's tested again in September, which is obviously this month. We've seen a bounce off of that, right? And the highest we can go here on the S&P 500 is we could actually go and retest all the way up here at 4,200, which would be another, how many percent would that be? Let's just take a quick look. Another 5% gain. So we could actually see substantial price action on Bitcoin. We could see a relatively large jump to the upside here on Bitcoin, especially considering the fact that we're still a few days out from the major events. We're still actually 4 days out from the major events. The major events in September are going to be CPI on the 13th, which could very well be bullish. We don't actually know what that's going to be yet. On Monday, which is about 3 days away, and this releases 4 days from now, so I think a day or two before that releases, we will be finding out what the market's predictions for CPI are, and that should be very interesting. That should be very telling, and it should lead to some sort of market reaction, because I'll actually bring up the predictions now from the historical predictions. Right, so we have the consensus here, which is the general market prediction for inflation, and then we have the actual numbers, and generally speaking, the predictions are relatively accurate. Now, we do have the trading economics forecast. That's not the mark. That's not a broad prediction. That's not as precise as we'd like it to be. In fact, they're very often off substantially, right? You wait for the consensus to come out, and that's when the general market itself, you get a whole variety of data. But, these guys here at Trading Economics, who are wrong quite often, with that said, they're expecting a decrease in inflation. And so if we decrease in inflation further, that's realistically good for Bitcoin, and it's good for the S&P 500, and that could explain why the S&P 500 is pumping here. Oil prices are something we need to take a look at, because they, of course, oil prices topping out triggered the top for inflation, or at least the local top for inflation, and they're continuing to drop, right? They are in a bullish formation. They should break to the upside, but they're continuing to drop as for time being, and that is indicative of the fact that, hey, maybe inflation's not looking too bad. And I would say that, and this is something I really want to point out, people don't necessarily understand that, and I've pointed out in the past, they don't necessarily understand that Bitcoin and the markets, they bottom out before the recession is over, right? They predict the future. They don't act with the recession. They don't act with the data. They bottom out before it's over. When there's a sign of recovery, that's when they bottom out. You know, and people might think differently. They might think, well, how can they bottom out? You know, inflation's still 8%. Yeah, it was 9%, but it's still 8%. It's like, that's not how it works. No. They predict the future. And if you need evidence of that, all you need to do is go to the S&P 500 and see when it topped out, right? It topped out in January. We didn't see interest rate hikes until like, what, March, right? 3 months later. It topped out 3 months early, right? In fact, it was down significantly. It was down like, it was down from when it topped out to when we saw the first rate hike, it was down like 15%. So it tops out before the situation's bad and it bottoms out before the situation is good. That's how it works. So I think that if we do in fact see these inflation numbers continue to drop, you know, I wouldn't even be opposed to Bitcoin not even testing 17.5K again. I think it could possibly just break this macro line and we'd buy at the macro reversal, right? I think people are overly bearish right now. I genuinely think people are very, very bearish right now, and I don't think there is enough of a reason to substantiate those bearish claims. Now, I do understand there are geopolitical situations, Ukraine, Taiwan, etc., all these things, and I understand that helps make up people's bearish point of view, but those are things we can't predict. We can't predict those things, and so we can't incorporate them overly into our analysis. You know, if I was taking into account, oh, what if China invades Taiwan? Then yes, of course we're going down to like 10K, but that's, you know, that's not guaranteed. I can't predict that kind of thing. How am I meant to incorporate that into my strategy if it's completely unpredictable? I'm not a geopolitical expert. This is what I say over and over again. What I can say is that based on the charts, based on the data I've seen so far, I would say the most likely scenario for Bitcoin is a 17.5K double bottom scenario, and I would say the bottom would be in before the end of October, right? I wouldn't even be opposed to the fact that, hey, maybe this is a higher low and maybe we just break up now. I wouldn't be opposed to it. With that said, that's not likely. I think my buying plan is quite clear. If you don't know my buying plan, I'll explain it to you right now. My buying plan is this, okay? I'm going to be buying 33% of my portfolio into Bitcoin at a retest of 17.5K. In fact, I have set those orders for 18K just to be safe, okay? So 33% at 18K. I'm also going to be buying 33% at 13.8K to 11.5K. And then I'm going to be buying 33% at a break of this macro downtrending line from November. If we don't reach 13.8K to 11.5K, I will buy 33% at 18K, and I will buy the remaining 67% at the macro reversal. Okay, that is my buying plan for Bitcoin. I think that is a very good buying plan. I think that is a good balance of risk and reward. We don't want to be buying 100% of our Bitcoin when we're kind of unsure when the bottom's going to be. That's why I'm saving 33% or possibly up to 66%, 67% for the trend reversal. I think that's the best strategy possible. Now, look, people say, oh, well, if you buy a trend reversal, you're going to be missing out on so much gains. It's like, am I really? Not really. Like, if we break this macro downtrend line, when are we likely to break it? We're likely to break it in like late September, and it's likely to be at like 20.7K. You know, that's not necessarily a bad buy. You know, we missed the bottom at 17.5K. We buy at 20.7. That's not a bad buy, right? And considering if we hit 18K and then we buy at 20, that's like an average price of like, what, 18.5 if it's 33%, 19.5, 19.4. You know, I think that's a good buy. So I'm considering my buying plan quite good. I think it's a good balance of risk-reward ratio. And to summarize, I think the short-term price action right now isn't entirely relevant. I think it will be interesting. And when we see Monday, possibly even tomorrow, I don't know, it could be tomorrow, when the consensus numbers for inflation comes out, that should be interesting because that's relatively accurate. And if it's lower, and if inflation is going to be coming in lower, the chance for us to just neglect the bottom here and just break to the upside is going to be significantly increased. Because remember, guys, remember this, right? Remember, the only reason we pumped, you know, in June was because inflation topped, right? We pumped like on the same day oil prices peaked. Right, so that whole pump, that whole rally, I think it was like a 40% rally, 43% rally. That was due to the fact that inflation topped. So inflation topping is a very good thing. Okay, so we need to be considering that. But again, yeah, as I said, 17.5K double bottom seems most likely to me. Let's get into it and let's see what happens tomorrow when those numbers come out. Could be Monday, I could be mistaken. We'll see what happens. Thanks, guys. If you go to my YouTube channel homepage and click on the join button, you can see the rewards that VIP members gain access to. They get 4 trading setups per week, prioritized reply to comments by myself, trading psychology, a lecture, so a 2-hour lecture on trading psychology, and then exclusive Telegram group access where we can discuss the charts and discuss the active trades from the exclusive trading setup. So if you're interested in that, that's 40 AUD a month, which works out to be, as of September, around 28 USD a month, less than $1 a day. Go ahead and sign up to that. Moving forward, forward further, we have the BitGet Exchange, and this is a very important one. The BitGet Exchange is something that I hold very closely as a trader. Why is that? Well, because I spent about a year looking for a good exchange. I got pretty much scammed on Binance last year during the bull market in 2021, and I found BitGet. They reached out to me, and then I reached out to them for the partnership. They got 0 trading fees on spot pairs, so it's free, entirely free for spot, and then on futures, they've got about 4 times less the fees than Binance, 4 times lower fees than Binance. And Binance is known to be the most popular exchange with the lowest fees. So this exchange is extremely cheap. On top of that, it's non-KYC, which holds true to the values of cryptocurrency, right? It's decentralized in your personal land. You don't need to link your identity to it if you don't want to. And it's globally available on that non-KYC format. So sign up to BitGet using my referral link in the description below. And in doing that, you'll gain access to over 4,000 USD in rewards by completing a few tasks. So again, use my referral link and sign up. It supports the channel and it supports your own trading endeavors. And then further, we've got the Crypto Academy, and this is if you want to learn how to trade, you want to learn how to do TA, you want to learn how to analyze a market, and that's where the Become a Trader 10-unit course comes in handy. Now, this course, and you can go to our website, you can read the abstract here, but this course was developed by myself and Megawell Crypto. We made this course during the start of 2022 and released it in around May 2022. We analyzed basically dozens of different courses, technical analysis courses that are available on the market. We analyze what was wrong with them, we analyze what was right with them, and we analyze things we can put together. We've created this so that we've got slideshows, we've got videos, we've got worksheets, which is no other course has that, by the way, all of which is kind of aimed to kind of direct towards any kind of learning style, whether it be verbal, whether it be visual, whether it be practical, any kind of learner you are, you can, profit from this course in terms of knowledge and then move it into the market and actually profit financially. So if you're interested in this course, you can go to our website, read out the 10 units, whatever, read everything you want, and then chuck us an email here at cryptoacademycourses@gmail.com, and we'll get back to you with all the relevant information. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.